So Pakistan has finally confirmed that one of its diplomatic buildings in Washington has been sold. They sold this building to a Pakistani American, Hafeez Khan, from Dallas, and he purchased this property for $7.1 million, which is, I think, the market rate for that type of building in Washington's diplomatic enclave. This building is in a historic area and one of the historic streets of Washington called the R Street, which has a lot of interesting places, including obviously diplomatic missions and residences of various ambassadors posted in Washington. And there are a lot of important people who live in this area, including the families of two former presidents, President Trump and President Obama, and a former Pakistani Prime Minister, Moin Qureshi, also used to live in this area. This building is, as I was saying, on R Street in Washington, and in the sort of early 2000s or mid of 2000s, the embassy purchased a new building, as I said before, and they moved to the new larger building. And so this building, along with another which used to be the main embassy building, these two buildings were actually evacuated, and they remain empty even now. So one of the buildings, the main building, is on Massachusetts Avenue, and near the one that has been sold, and it was in, I think, the year 2010 or something. The then Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani authorized a sum of like $6 million for repairing and restoring the two buildings. But the one that was sold today on the R Street, that was not repaired, and although the one on Mass Avenue was repaired, but both buildings still remain empty, unoccupied until this week, when one of them, the one on the R Street, was sold to Hafeez Khan. The building was in a very bad shape. It was actually falling apart and was even declared a blighted or endangered property, which was and was called a public risk. So the city government had also, I think, fined embassies some an undisclosed amount for keeping for allowing the building to decay as it did. And so the embassy had been trying for quite some time to sell this building. First, this building was sold to an American construction company, and then somehow some people in the Pakistani community discovered that one of the owners of the company was a Jewish person, so they created quite a fuss over it, that why a building that belonged to the Pakistan embassy was being sold to a Jewish person. But I think that was a very strange attitude, because after all, you are living in America. Jews are the largest trading group in the United States. They are everywhere in every business, and they're big in the property business. So if you put a property in market, the laws of the city and the traditions demand that it should go to the highest bidder, and whosoever the highest bidder may be, he will buy it. And so it was sold to a Jewish person. Well, the offer by a Jewish person was accepted, but under pressure from the Pakistani community, they cancelled that offer. And then it was put in the market again, and this time they found a Muslim buyer. But that Muslim buyer turned out to be half Indian and half Pakistani, which is one of his parents were from India, and one of his parents were from Pakistan. One of his parents was from India, and another was from Pakistan. So that again became an issue, and the embassy was again forced to cancel that deal. And finally, this person from Dallas, Hafeez Khan, who is a big businessman in Dallas, he came up and he offered to buy the building. So finally, the building was sold to him for $7.1 million. And Mr. Khan apparently will have to actually perhaps demolish the building and rebuild it. And we asked him what were his plans. He said he cannot decide what to do with the building yet. He will actually, the whole place has to be inspected, and the decision will be taken by the experts whether it will be built as it is, or it will be turned into something else, whether they'll have to also look into different conditions attached with the building, because it is in a historic area, so the city may not allow it to turn it into anything else other than what it is, which is sort of a residential building turned into an embassy office or whatever. It's still that has to be decided what they intend to do with it. What really concerns me now is the fate of the former embassy building, which used to house the main embassy on Mass Avenue. That building, Pakistan has spent about $1 million on restoring that building, repairing it and everything. And that was done like 5-6 years ago, or maybe even almost 10 years ago. It was repaired. It was part of it from inside was rebuilt, and it was declared fit to move in or to sell it or whatever, but nothing happened. It is still, although they spent so much money on its restoration, but the building is still empty, not been occupied. It has neither been sold, and I don't know what the embassy intends to do with it, because if it is not, if a decision is not taken soon, then this building may again be declared a blighted or an abandoned property, and it will be on whatever money they spent on its restoration will be lost, and then this building will also have to be sold at to the highest bidder, which may be less than the market value of the building. So I don't know why we take so long in taking decisions like this. Why even buying and selling a building in Washington or a hotel in New York becomes a political issue in Pakistan? Why cannot simply be these decisions simply be taken on as business decisions? I mean, if you want to sell a property, sell it for the highest bidder, whosoever he or she may be, a Jewish, Muslim, or Hindu, or whatever. You are not, do not have the building in Pakistan. The building is in the United States, and the United States has certain rules and regulations and for buying and selling properties. And I think we should follow those rules and regulations, and we should sell the building to whoever gives the most money. That should be the correct criterion. That, if it is a property that needs to be sold, it should be given to the highest bidder, and that's it, period. No politics, no religious dispute, nothing. But we are what we are, and therefore everything that concerns us becomes a dispute, political and religious, and all sorts of people get involved, and everything gets delayed.